Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Find Out What's in Pelenta's Forrest. So grab yourself a glass of water or a cup of tea and spend the next few minutes with me. And like I always tell you, don't believe everything you hear. Check your facts, do your own research. Seriously, check your facts and do your own research. And as soon as the butterflies bring us on in, we'll get started. Don't you want to know what my butterflies are saying? What? Don't you want to know what my butterflies are talking? This is Pelenta's Forrest. Yes, it is. I have a great show lined up for you. This evening, we are going to be talking about all kinds of fun, cool stuff. All kinds of fun, cool stuff. Yes, I just love the boom. The boom, 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 boom. Anyway, how is everybody doing? Are you doing fabulous? I hope you're doing fabulous, and I hope you had a safe and happy, spectacular 4th of July. It was off the hook for a lot of people. Lots of fun, unfortunately. Lots of careless mistakes, some injuries, but I'm not going to talk about that. She's saying move on, so I'm going to move on. This evening, we are going to be talking about prescription drug abuse among older adults can be harder to spot. But I'm going to jump right into a statement that is a little irritating, and I'm going to explain why. It says here, because they're still talking about the death of Prince and the fentanyl accidental overdose is what they're calling it. So this statement says the death of Prince in April from an accidental overdose of the painkiller fentanyl has brought new awareness and new attention to the opioid addiction. Well, that kind of ticked me off a little bit, and I'm going to explain to you why. You know, it just seems like anytime something happens involving a star, all of a sudden, they've brought new attention to the problem. You had Angelina Jolie with the whole breast cancer thing, and then you had Caitlyn Jenner with the transgender. Now you have Prince with the overdose. And I also want to clear something up, because lots of times you'll hear me talk and I'll say things like, you know, us people down here and all that kind of stuff. You know, when I say us down here, I do not mean that as a negative or a bad thing, because as far as I'm concerned, we're all stars. We're just in a different part of the sky. But we also have the same problems that these other stars have, just like Michael Jackson. He was addicted to, I think it was propofol or something like that. But, you know, we're down here, we're struggling too. But we're some of the brightest stars in the sky. So I just want to clear that up. But moving right along here, it says prescription drugs are, abuse is amongst older adults can be harder to spot. So I thought this was really, really interesting, because it says here that drug addiction is not restricted to the young. It's also hitting older adults. And according to this article, it says that the reason why is because a lot of the baby boomers, people in their 60s and 70s now, are starting to retire. And once they retire and the retirement sets in, they start to get bored. You know, they don't have much to do. Retirement has set in, and then aches and pains set in, and they start getting addicted to these painkillers because it starts out being prescribed in low doses. So I'm going to read through this article here a little bit, and then I want to discuss a couple of things. So here it says, Drug addiction is not restricted to the young. A young lady that I don't want to mention her name, I'll just use her initials as DW. She's 53 and she turned to painkillers after undergoing a simple surgery. Then a long, tortured path to divorce made her anxious and depressed, and she soon found herself on a candy-colored pill roller coaster. Now, unlike street drugs, pharmaceutical pills are easy to obtain legally. She got them from emergency rooms, dentists, psychiatrists, and even plastic surgeons. Now, she says here that she went to doctors and she exaggerated the truth. You know, she explained at one time she actually had 4 doctors. And she said that no matter how many pills that she took, she hurt more and more and more. But the constant pill popping took a huge toll on her until about 4 years ago, she could barely get out of bed. And she says that sometimes she even woke up and she felt as though she couldn't even breathe. And at some point, she actually started contemplating suicide. You know, and this is an interesting statement that she made here. She said that sometimes the pills are actually causing the pain. The pills are causing the pain, not the pain. I thought that was a very interesting statement. And of course, you know, they spoke of the fact that, you know, Prince died of the overdose. And rumor has it is all those times you saw him at his concerts where he was jumping off the speakers and the whole 9 yards. Well, all that jumping and that landing so hard, excuse me, and that jumping and this landing so hard took a big toll on his hips. And he actually had a couple of surgeries that he kept secret. And he started on the pain pills. But it says here that even, addiction can begin with a simple request for something just to stop a simple back pain. But even starting on a low dose of opioid can quickly turn into abuse. Well, you ask why? Well, I'll tell you, there are 2 factors for aging adults. Drug tolerance will build over time. That is a fact. No matter what you do, your drug tolerance is going to build over time. And the body's slowing metabolism gives the drug a bigger effect. So by 10 days of usage, you can be addicted. Can you believe that? In as little as 10 days, you can be addicted to prescription drugs. Now, it also says that caregivers and doctors rarely notice the problem in its early stages. And also, addiction is often discovered, only after a bad fall or confusion, and most of all, as we keep seeing over and over and over, an accidental overdose. So with this young lady here, her detox took 20 days, but then it took more than 6 months for all of this drug to literally clear out of her system. Now, it says here that detoxing older adults from prescription drugs is really tricky because they have to be monitored so they don't go through this severe withdrawal. Because lots of times when you try to kick these prescription drug habits cold turkey, you can go into stroke, you can have a heart attack, you could die right there on the spot. So when you think, oh, well, you know what, I can just quit anytime. No, it's not that simple. You can't just quit anytime, because once your body has been conditioned to take 17 Vicodin a day, you can't wake up one morning and just not give your body those 17 Vicodins that it has been so used to having every single day for the last 6 months. that's literally suicide. So if you know anybody that is battling, chronic pain, or they seem a little off or whatever, pull that person aside lovingly and talk to them, because this adult prescription drug addiction, it's very serious, and it's also very serious among our young kids as well. So moving right along, let's see what else I want to talk about here. Oh, migraines. This is a very interesting article that I came across, because I know that a lot of people suffer from migraines, and if you've ever had a headache, let me tell you, it is nothing compared to a migraine. When you have a migraine headache, it swings from one end of the world to the other. You can have vomiting, flashing lights, passing out. I mean, just all kinds of nasty stuff. So listen at this. This is a two-part story here. So there's a firm to stop sales of the migraine patch. So Teva Pharmaceuticals said on Monday that it will stop selling its migraine patch treatment, Zecuity, after users reported burns and scars where the patch was applied. Now, the company advised that anyone who has used this patch should not use it anymore. Stop using it. And Zecuity is a disposable, battery-powered patch that is worn on the upper arm or thigh once for 4 hours to ease a migraine headache. Now, the patch delivers medicine through this patch, and it delivers medicine through the skin. Now, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration said that some users have reported severe redness, skin discoloration, also cracked skin where the patch was applied. So they just pulled this off the market because, it's doing some damage. But now that we found this out, this is another cool story for migraine sufferers. So you know what I'm going to do? Check this out, because this is cool. I love medical science, and I always got to share super cool medical stuff. So listen at this good news after the sad news. Green light a go for migraine sufferers. For migraine sufferers, exposure to bright light can be debilitating, either triggering or exacerbating headaches, which is awful, because I've had them and I know other people that have had them and they're terrible. But a certain spectrum of green light can help reduce or fend off light sensitivity in migraine-prone adults, according to research at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston, which is really neat, because what they have found that they've done this test on, of course they always have to do a test on animals, but it says that they've used animal models to study neurons in the brain's thalamus, and these neurons were found to be most responsive to blue light and least responsive to green light. And that's explaining why the migraine brain responds favorably to green light. So now they're working to develop an affordable light bulb that emits low intensity green light. So like I keep telling you, I keep coming across all this really neat medical science with the gene therapy, so there'll be no more blindness. You had the uterus transplant. Then you had, a month or so ago, you had the first penis transplant. And then you have the bright ocular, where if you want a new eye color, they can do that. And then just the other day, I talked about the first hand transplant. I think I talked about that. If I didn't, I will be talking about that later this week. But like I keep saying, this is real life Twilight Zone. We're moving into an age where nothing is medically impossible. And I'll tell you something else that's cool. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie called Soylent Green, but this is my prediction of the future. What's gonna end up happening is we're moving into this medical age, like I keep saying, that nothing is impossible. And at some point, We are literally, everybody is going to live to be 100 years old. And after you reach 100 years old, where everybody's going to have a big going away party for you, you're going to say goodbye. You're going to go into some facility, into a little room, little chamber, and they're just going to put you to sleep like a sick dog. You're just going to take that Seconal solution and you're going to go to sleep. Because with all this medical technology, you're going to have people on this planet living to 800 and 900 like in the Bible days. And then the Georgia Guidestones is really going to have a population problem, okay? So here's another thing that I want to share with you that I thought was really, really cool. You know how I am about pictures. So here is a lady that just celebrated her 100th birthday. Her name is Ella Bea Surratt, and she moved to the foothills in 1946. If you can see that absolutely beautiful, beautiful face of hers, I just had to share this with you. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about this lady because I thought this story was absolutely amazing. Now listen at this. She was orphaned in Texas. She was raised by an aunt and an uncle in Arkansas. She had at least one child at high school in Auburn. She had a child every year for 24 years in a row. Now listen, she just celebrated her 100th birthday with about 200 friends in the green wooden house where she's lived for over 60 years. 5 generations celebrated in her honor. And the crowd included all 8 of her remaining children, 23 grandchildren, 45 great-grandchildren, and 16 great-great-grandchildren. And you know what's so funny? One of her oldest daughters said that she just loves all people. She doesn't care what their race is. And you know what else she said? Don't let anyone be nicer to you than you are to them. And that's some good advice. And you know what? When she was born June 7th of 1916 in Wascom, Texas, but her mom died when she was 9 months old, and she never knew her mother. But she married her high school sweetheart and stayed married to him until he passed away. But she just celebrated her 100th birthday. So a happy birthday, Mrs. Ella Bea Surratt. I thought that was a wonderful story to share. And one more thing that I want to talk about real quick is there is a Natomas teen that is suing school officials over sexual misconduct. And one thing I want to say about this is, well, actually, let me say this first. In her senior year, the lawsuit says that the teacher that she is talking about has sent her sexually explicit text messages and pictures and all this kind of stuff. And she reported it, and nobody ever did anything about it. And one thing that I want to say is, it is so disturbing to hear this kind of nonsense, because when I was in school, you turn to your coach, the nurse in the nurse's office, your school counselor. These people in authority were supposed to help our children. What has happened to that? Now you have the priest, the coaches, your doctors. Everybody is just violating our youth. We're supposed to be helping our youth to be better people. They're the ones that are going to be taking over this world once we're dead and gone. I mean, this is just really getting out of hand, and it's quite sad. So, quite frankly, I hope that whoever did this to this poor young girl is fired, and I hope she sues the living pants off of them. And like how I like to show you beautiful pictures. This is a Redwood National Park redwood tree. And it is gigantic. So check this out and enjoy it. This tree is ginormous. Look at that. If you can see that. That is absolutely gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be our show for the evening. I hope you like my Ghostbusters shirt. I love the Ghostbusters, so bam. I have not seen the new Ghostbusters movie yet. I've actually heard mixed reviews. I heard some people say that it was super good, and I heard some people say that it was awful, you know, and they're probably saying that because nothing will ever compare to the first Ghostbusters. Of course it won't. The remakes never compare to the original. That's just how it goes. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, have a fabulous rest of the week. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. My book is available everywhere. Go to my website, PelentaArtForest.com. Many more super cool shows to come, as usual. Thank you for watching, and we are going to get out of here with my favorite tune, One Love, because we are all one. And as usual, I am so very grateful for everything, and I am grateful for you too. Thank you for watching. Find out what's in Pelenta's forest. God bless you all.